similar upbringing. He's from Glenview, which is kind of like in Elmhurst. And we just had, we connected over a lot of the things we had in common. So he immediately proposed to me, and I knew him as being like a whore. So like 4 weeks into the relationship, he's like, I promise you, if you will be with me and stay with me, I will leave these women and I will never talk to them again. And there was a list of like his top like 5, and he like listed them all out and like set out their pictures and like did a lot of, I was offended, like, but he was honest with me. He's like, look, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I love you, and, you know, you're really a good person, and I want to be with you. You're smart and, you know, capable and intelligent and kind and compassionate and patient, and I love you. And I was like so flattered, and I told him, man, I love you too. And then we spent like literally 6 to 8 weeks on the phone. Hours on the phone every day from then on. The entire time he was in prison, his mom would basically support him with commissary. I didn't really support him. But he would send me home money in the form of checks, and he would like basically be more supportive of me than anyone else. So I start my career in GoPro Solo by doing different, like my Vixies, many vids. Never did I do anything as a collaborated effort other than with myself and my assistant or my photographer. So I never went on screen with another person. Basically, I thought of a bunch of campaigns that were not only interesting or sexy or appealing, but also like that I felt needed to be said, human rights based. I don't know if you guys remember Kanye, one of my favorite shoots to date. I did like a white bodysuit, a kind of Tiana Taylor mix with Kanye West when he did the MAGA hat with the Colin Kaepernick Hanes hoodie or sweater that he like handmade. And I was doing social experiments at that time. We were just having a lot of fun as content creators with no boundaries. You know, nothing was off limits as far as I was concerned. And it took, several years of getting there. You start very conservative and you become conditioned either by a person or by a set of circumstances or by pressure or by flattery or by positive reward, money, incentive, whatever it is, to keep on extending your kind of boundaries and what you think is normal. And it happens to everyone. It's natural unless you, and I've talked about this a lot, unless you are able to literally intentionally see yourself and say, yo, I need to reel it the fuck back in. This is who I truly am. But this conditioning is causing me to be over here. I see who I am, who I want to be, who I, know myself to be. I need to now reel it back in, and you go back and you say, wow, okay, that was fun, or that was exciting, or that was damaging, or whatever it was, but now I'm back to where I need to be. And if you can always bring yourself back to that center, you never get too far away from who you are. Well, I was like, started here, okay, and like ended like somewhere like off in space, like you can't even see where I ended. I was off the screen. That's how far from like my normal I was. Just in a very bad position. I was being victimized. My house was being robbed. I was being walked all over. I was being used. And I just couldn't handle it. So my first and only like priority are my children. Somehow this man was able to help me find a way to create income without having to leave my children on the days they were with me. So they were with me Monday through Thursday or Friday, 4 or 5 days a week, full-time primary custodial parent, all 3 kids. And I wouldn't work those days, or I would just do edits and marketing on my laptop. Thursday night or Friday morning when they went with their dads or to school, and then Saturday and Sunday when they were with their fathers, I would be working my ass off. Sometimes I would not sleep. Sometimes I would be on caffeine, some sort of stimulant medication. Never a street drug. I wasn't good at that. If I ever took a street drug stimulant, it would not do what it was supposed to do. So I have tried before. It's just not for me. So if you're ever hearing that falsely supported narrative, you can rest assured knowing it's 100% not true. Yes, I have worked my ass off. Yes, I have stayed awake. Yes, I have gone to a rave once. Yes, I have seen things. So I'm not like some innocent, naive girl anymore, but I am very affected and very damaged. Still, I'm not whole. I have some sort of rash coming on the side of my neck and the side of my face. Anyways, ADHD as fuck. So I just I'm not the same. Like I said, no one reeled me back in. I was never reeled back in. And it got to the point where like I would spend the hours on the phone with Dylan like this. I want to die, like hysterically crying. I want to die. He'd be like, where are you? Oh, I locked myself in the upstairs closet with all the doors shut. I'm hanging out the window, smoking a cigarette, crying, so that the kids don't smell the cigarette smoke or hear me crying. There's music on in the background, or the vacuum cleaner's always running, and I was trying to be the best mom I could while I couldn't even recognize who I was anymore. And I was battling depression and anxiety and all the suicidal thoughts and all this stuff. Besides that, my significant other and main source of energy and support was in prison. So in my mind, I created this narrative that as soon as he came out, all of the promises he made to me, they would start coming true, and all of the struggle and pain and exploitation and victimizations that had taken place, including my house being intentionally flooded twice, being stabbed and jumped by 3 women, being bludgeoned and having my head split open. All of those things were like brand new to me. I had never been a victim in that way. I came from a decent upbringing, very strict. So it was very hard to digest these things. And all of them just made me even more fucked up and terrified, than ever before. But I was holding on because that was supposed to be the end. His release was supposed to be the beginning, the end of the struggle and the beginning of the rise, of the, okay, now I have struggled through and made money and been okay. I bought my first car on a car loan. I paid the entire thing off. Now I can stop struggling. Now I could start investing in myself, start repaying my student loans, start continuing to grow our business, my business, in the direction of not so much a many platform anymore, but more like a mainstream ABC, a Saturday Night Live, a big production company where I could encourage people like myself to put themselves in skits, in photo shoots, okay, thank you so much, in creative pictures to not only communicate, but to entertain. So that's really my passion at this point. My background is in actually medical law and administration. So that's what I went to college for. I worked for a little under 10 years at Alexian Brothers, Northwestern, and Gottlieb hospitals. I was at Northwestern the longest. I have a lot of experience in medical. I did everything in the medical field: front end, back end medical assisting, injections, phlebotomy, vitaling, triaging, billing, coding, managing medical office. Then I switched over to events. I started hiring for hot import nights, the auto show, the boat show, big events at McCormick Place. They're called, it's called staffing basically, but I call it promotional modeling or brand ambassador work. And I would negotiate rates and kind of divide it into as many decent rates as I could and hire girls that I knew from going out who needed money. And I would also promote clubs. So when celebrities would come to town, we would have parties at these clubs. And anyone who came and said my name or used my code for my team, we would get a payout on. So I was learning all of these things that can help me and that should make me a more well-rounded person and should assist me in, earning profitable reputation within all of those communities, because I have done nothing other than make money for those communities and be honest and solid in those communities. I don't judge people. I try to give people what they need. If I see you not okay, I try to assess the situation, see what you need, and if I could give it to you, you've got it. You know what I mean? And so I've been a very kind and compassionate person. With that being said, I'm trying to find myself now. So where am I now? I'm trying to find a way to not be so resentful. So let me explain. When Dylan came out, he was forced back into multiple cases. And he was literally forced to be high. And when he's high, he is awful. So he began being incredibly abusive. I called his parole department and told them, I'm going to die if this man, stays here. Rather than them helping me get an emergency order of protection against him, because he was involved in all these cases, they threw me into the street, separated me from my children, and made my children go live with their fathers. My children have lived with me their entire lives since the day I gave birth to them. Since the time that they threw me in the street, I've been sexually assaulted numerous times, robbed numerous times, Everything from my electronics, my laptops. I've had 5 laptops in the past 4 years, all robbed from me. My entire wardrobes, all my shoes, perfumes. I had a sponsor put me in an apartment at Montclair. I had, with the lease agreement and rental receipts in hand, I was removed by people claiming to be law enforcement that were not law enforcement. So I have filed hundreds of police reports for gang stalking, harassment, regular stalking, domestic terrorism, and other abuse. There have been a very long list. I still to this day have received 0 victim services. When I met Xavier last year, 13 months ago, he approached me as someone on behalf of the state of Illinois whose brother was the district attorney for the state of Illinois. He promised me I would never be outside again, and that he was the answer to all of these problems. Since that time, he has gotten me pregnant on purpose twice, and we are outside and have been outside sleeping in a tent for the past 6 months. Someone has mechanically sabotaged my Cadillac CTS to the point where it needs a complete new engine. I just got done paying off the car. It's stranded in Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia. I have taken every job under the sun, including driving DoorDash, personal training, serving, bartending, hostessing, event planning, staffing. I have been chased out of every single one of those jobs in the first week, with the exception of Getir, Getir, which is a Turkish company. You guys can download it. They deliver food, mostly in downtown urban areas. They give bundle deals, and they're very convenient. They are eco-friendly, so they're focused on saving the environment. All of their drivers ride e-bikes or little mopeds. So it's a good company to work for. They do a lot of community outreach. They hire a lot of people who have trouble keeping jobs, and they're very, forgiving and tolerant when it comes to things like attendance. If you don't show up a few times, you might lose your job. Well, in 6 months, you can come back and try again. If you need a different shift, your shift leads are really nice at doing their best to work with you. And if you need a ride with someone, they will put you on a shift with that person so that you can coordinate and be there together. It's a nice company. I didn't have any problems while I was working there. I ended up going into preterm labor with the twins I was pregnant with on December 25th and 26th. I delivered them at home. They passed away. It was 20 weeks. I literally hand delivered the babies. I was taken to the area hospital where we were, and I stayed there for a while recovering. And it's kind of just been a struggle ever since then. It's like, when will I catch a break? This is supposed to be the redemption. This is supposed to be when the real story comes out. Because for anyone who doesn't know, in an effort to protect Dylan and his likeness while he was working these cases, Love After Lockup with WeTV agreed to run a narrative behind my back about who I am as a person. They falsely accused me of being crazy, among numerous other things. And then they premeditatedly, in an effort to protect Dylan, altered their content and the narrative of the show so that people would believe in him and discredit me. Well, when you say that someone is crazy on national television, but that person is being beaten and abused by the person who's calling them crazy, you are putting the victim in grave danger. And that's what they did to me. So again, I've suffered. My head has been bashed open by a man with a tire iron. The man was arrested on site. I have never received victim services or restitution for that. I was beaten by law enforcement, literally picked up off of my feet for no reason, body slammed onto the ground while pregnant, for no reason, and then locked inside of a small, scary little closet and charged with, this is during the daytime, it was like 9 p.m. They wrote me a ticket for not having a domicile. I was laying on a yoga mat meditating under a gazebo in the park, in light, with light all around me. I had no weapons, no reason. Nothing happened. So I was jumped and stabbed by 3 women. I mean, prior to 2019, I've never been the victim of any violent abuse in my life. I've never been in a fist fight. I've never done anything like that. So going through all of this while also being separated from my children and limited in contact with them, and trying to decipher Xavier's intentions, where is the district attorney? Because when you are victimized, if you are stabbed, if you are bludgeoned, if you are body slammed, so now I've been victimized by random people on the street, both man and woman, with weapons, and law enforcement, and I've been sexually assaulted, and I've reported all of this to many, many different area detectives and law enforcement agencies.